Community Development Department.
Thank you, Vice
Tricia?
Mayor and council members. I'll take any questions that you have at this time.
Anybody have any questions of Trish? Hearing none, thank you. Moving on, the Building Inspection Code, Enforcement Code.
Mr. Vice Mayor and council members, I'll take any questions on those as well.
Okay. Any questions on those two sets of issues?
I see there's a lot of unplowed sidewalks, yeah. Can we, is there something more we should do to get them plowed?
Councilman Petros, that actually falls under the police department, and we're going to start addressing that. Myself and code enforcement have come up with some working guidelines on what's going to be code enforcement, what's going to be police department, and we're clearing that up now.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. City Administrator's report, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. I have nothing to add, but I will take any questions.
Any questions of Mr. Murphy at all?
I do.
Okay.
Have we received any more information regarding MediaCom and connections for the school?
City Attorney Boats, have you received anything subsequent to that?
Mayor and Council, I talked to Tom Wardwell, who is the MediaCom rep who handles those kind of issues and handles this area. He came back with believing, having not looked at the franchise himself, believing that there was a cost share requirement, and he was going to look into that further and try and explain his position on that to me. He hasn't gotten back to me since the email of, I don't know, a week or so ago, David?
Yeah, about that.
About that, and I will push back at him tomorrow and have a report next week, or next meeting. My understanding, though, is a new school building should be constructed without cost to the school, but I want to confirm that with the franchise and sort of understand their position before we kind of draw lines in the sand about it, but that's where I start from.
Thank you.
Any other questions of Mr. Murphy's report? Hearing none, we'll accept that. Mr. Murphy, thank you. We've come to that point in the agenda for public forum. This is an effort on the council's part to try and let the people have a sharing of their concerns on any city business. Is there anybody that has anything to offer from the public arena at this point in time for the council meeting? Anything at all? Hearing none, we will move on. In part two's session tonight, where we have our workshop, and the public will have access in that segment as well to offer their thoughts. Okay. We're at that point in time for a public hearing, conditional use permit. Trish?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. The applicant, Greg Muhlenbach, has submitted an application for a conditional use permit for a martial arts studio at 107 North Meridian Street, Suite 5. Property owner is Tom Mager. Does require a conditional use permit as it is not outlined in zoning ordinance as a permitted use, but would fall under a conditional use. The City Council must render a decision by March 21st of 2009. The Planning Commission reviewed the application at their meeting. There was discussion regarding the hours of operation. The applicant did indicate that at the meeting that they were planning to do 3 nights a week, roughly between the hours of 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. With that, staff recommends approval of the conditional use permit as well as the planning commission with the conditions that a sign permit would be necessary for any signage, as well as a building inspection in order to change the occupancy type with the building code. So that's paperwork essentially only. So with that, I'll take any questions after the public hearing.
Any questions? Hearing none, at this time, I will open the public hearing. And if there's anybody in the audience that has any comments, please come forward and state your comments, state your residency, and we'll go from there. So anybody that wants to make a statement in this public hearing on this issue?
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Seconded? Been moved and seconded to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those wishing to close the public hearing signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign for the negative. It is closed. Council, what are your thoughts?
I'll move on Resolution 09-025.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve 7.1 conditional use permit. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Negative by the same sign. It passes, it's approved. Moving on to business. First order of business is the presentation of claims.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved to approve the claims. There's a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the claims signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those that are negative on it signify by the same sign. They are approved. Next item of business is a discussion on liquor fees for 2009, 2010. And, make a comment on that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. During the discussions for the preparation for the 2009 fee schedule in December, it was determined that liquor fees would be reviewed prior to the annual liquor license renewal date of June 30th, and the city has increased the majority of the liquor fees in 2003, and off-sale fees were increased in 2006. Attached are the current liquor fees for the cities of Jordan and New Prague. With that, I'm looking for council discussion and direction on this matter. That is staff report, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. You heard our administrator. Anybody have any questions or wish to offer some points of discussion on this? Anything at all?
I'll make a motion to leave the license as is.
Okay.
What did you say?
You made a motion to leave the licenses as they are.
Okay.
In other words, no changes.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to leave the licenses as they are. Discussion. Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor of approving the license fees as they are